Oh, all right, and we are live again. Absolutely brilliant, wonderful. How you doing? Following your dreams? I absolutely hope you are. My, oh my. Are we gonna have a good one? I hope so. I hope so. I believe so. Like every single one. There you go. There you are. Seems to be working. It's a good sign. All right, all right. How are you, legends? How are you? How's life? Are you enjoying your life? There we go. We got some sound. I like it. Latency's not too bad. This one right here. That's probably about good, right? Yeah, so if you click this, your timing is elite. While the rest of the internet is asleep, you showed up for the single craziest news session of 2026. Trump basically walked out of France and rewrote the Middle East before dinner, and we're unpacking all of it together. Live and unfiltered. Drop a red dot in the chat so I know you're in the room if you want. And what else do we have? Yeah, smash the subscribe and bell so the algorithm stops hiding the chaos from you. And if you want your name read on stream, fire a super chat. Tap join to become a member. Members run this house. So you're not just watching history tonight. You're going to be smarter than 99% of people who wake up confused tomorrow. We got POTUS, the G7. Trump is blasting CNN, ABC, NBC while defending Iran deal at the G7 summit. Let's see what's going on.
Thank you. That's a lot of press. That's good. We had a great event. This was something very special. And I want to thank President Macron, Bridget, his really lovely wife, fantastic person, for welcoming us to France for an extremely successful G7 summit. I would say it's one of the most successful. And this meeting could not have come at a better time. On Sunday, we reached an agreement with Iran that achieves everything we set out to accomplish, everything and much more.
Everything.
Ending the current conflict, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and preventing Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. That's what it was all about. That was about 99%. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They can't develop it, buy it. They can never have a nuclear weapon. At the same time, with this announcement, or close to it, as people started to think it was going to happen when Iran was making some very positive statements, the stock market has surged to record highs, picking up thousands of points over the last short period of time. Thousands of points.
Thousands.
And oil is dropping like it has never dropped before, at levels that went in numbers down $7, down $8. They've never seen anything like that. But if we didn't do this deal, we could have dropped more bombs for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years. You would never have the Hormuz Strait open. You would never have success. Your market would have, instead of going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before, would go down at levels that nobody ever saw before, maybe except for 1929 or whatever. And all the tough guys don't realize that this wasn't a 3-month deal. This was years in the making. You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani. And if I didn't kill General Soleimani, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about
Jace, how you doing, man? What's up?
This deal, because he was a mad genius. They never were able to replace him. But A lot of people forget that. The tough guys, the tough guys that would drive the country right down the tubes. The past 2 days have provided a chance to discuss the details of this historic agreement with many of our closest friends and allies, including the G7 nations and many presidents and prime ministers, as you saw. Prime Minister Modi was here. We had a long talk. He's a great guy. They are thrilled that we made a deal, every one of them. There's not one nation that came to us and said, please, sir, keep dropping bombs on
How you doing, Sri Harya?
them. Please keep dropping bombs. The stupid people say that. But I'm thrilled to report, and by the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $200 million worth of bombs. And, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else.
$200 million worth of bombs in 2 days. Doing some damage. Some big numbers right there.
And they knew I was coming for a third night. We informed them we're coming for a third night. They didn't have their Navy, it's sunk. They didn't have their Air Force, it's gone, not one plane. They didn't have anti-aircraft equipment, so we got free reign. They didn't have their leaders. But they have a new group of leaders that I think is, I think they're smarter. I think they're very smart. I think they're far less radicalized. And I think they're really good. They love their country. You talk about regime change, nobody will say that, but I guess look, their one set of leaders is all gone. Their second set of leaders is all gone. Their third set of leaders a little bit gone, but for the most part, and frankly, I think that's regime change. I think they're going to behave much differently. I think they see a different way of life that they were never exposed to. So the one thing I didn't want to see is I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
Huh?
We got Martin jumping in on the chat saying the surrender speech. What do you mean by the surrender speech? How you doing, Syed Ayub?
Oh, that's a terrible statement.
He just said that's a terrible statement. Perfect timing right there. Toby saying release the island man files. There you go. What do you think about that?
All right. The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what, we're not going to be able to settle, it would go down very big, Peter, right? Very, very big. Tells you something. And I've studied presidents.
Nice camera movement right there.
Some good, some bad, some great. Not too many are great. And some really bad. We had one just recently. And the one president I did not want to be was the late, great Herbert Hoover. I didn't want that. And who knows what would have happened. But bad things happen. So the past 2 days have provided a chance to discuss the details of the deal with the closest friends and allies, heads of countries. They were all here, a lot of them. Far more than the 7, as you know, a lot of them. And they put out a statement. I think President Macron, who did a great job, by the way, him and Bridget, they did a great job, but they all put out statements saying they love this deal because they want to see it over. And they love the fact that
There we go. We got Jesus Christ is the only way, saying if you don't like America or President Trump, you need to research instead of just following what Democrats Congress leaks out as false. There you go. Always good to verify your sources. Absolutely. Well said.
the Hormuz. Don't forget, if we were going to drop bombs, let's say we went another month, another 2-3 months, maybe weeks, could be another 3 months, Could be whatever. What do you have left? Got maybe nothing, but you don't have, the strait will never be open because people that own billion-dollar ships, these ships.
Got user TT saying, as long as Double B doesn't F it up. There you go. There you go.
Cost $1 billion. They don't like sailing ships or having their ships participate when you go up the coast and you go through the strait and there are rockets flying over your head. They want to protect their $1 billion investment. You wouldn't have oil for maybe years. These are stupid people. But nobody was tougher than me. Nobody hit Soleimani. You know, when I hit Soleimani, people thought that was the biggest thing to happen in the Middle East for 50 years. That was the biggest event. He was the boss of Iran and respected, but he was a mad genius. He was a genius, the father of the roadside bomb. When you see young men, and in some cases women, mostly men, walking around without legs, without arms, with a face that's been blown to smithereens, it's Soleimani, 95%, 96.2 they say or something, 95%. That was Soleimani did it. Happened to come from Iran, and I blew him up. You remember that? I blew him up in the Valley of Death. He got off his plane and we followed him, and in all fairness, because they've been wonderful to me, Israel, but they didn't want to do that attack. They were all set. The night before the attack, they informed me they didn't want to do it, so I had to make a decision. I made the decision to do it. But it was a joint venture, as we say in the real estate business. That was a joint venture between Israel and us. We studied it for a month. We knew what plane he was going to be on almost a month before. He only traveled on commercial airliners, the big ones with lots of people, because he knew we wouldn't shoot him down. He's very smart. But we knew he was going to be on that plane. We followed him, and then Israel informed me that they won't do it. And I had to make a decision. I had some very good generals, and not the ones you see on television, very good. And I want to thank also Pete Hegseth and General Raisin Kane, who's phenomenal. Okay, these guys are phenomenal. They can't be better. But I had some good generals, and I said to them, well, if Israel's not going to do it, we're all prepared. Do we do it? Do you like doing
Yo, Waffle Jackson, good to see you, buddy. How are you? How are you?
it or not? He said, sure. If you want to do it, we can do it. How well? We'll do it just as well or better. We can do it ourselves. We don't need anybody. So we took out Soleimani. One of the biggest events to happen in the Middle East, maybe ever, but they say 50 years, they say 100 years. I was with...
We got Wicked One saying Tallarico is not a dependable researcher. Which Tallarico are you talking about? The politician or the literal academic Tallaricos?
The Prime Minister of Pakistan, he said it's maybe the biggest event that has ever taken place. Nobody could believe it. So that's when it started. It didn't start like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. And Obama wouldn't do it. What Obama did was he did the JCPOA. He loaded up a plane with $1.7 billion in green cash from banks all over Washington, Maryland, and Virginia. They were stripped of all their cash. They had no cash to do payrolls. It all went into a Boeing 757, a wonderful plane, and they flew it to Iran. And they gave it out to people. They bribed people. They thought they were going to get it done. Then they gave billions and billions of dollars after that. And they got a deal.
How you doing, J-Hen?
There was a road to a nuclear weapon. I get so angry, I guess. I'm allowed to get angry when I watch the Democrats. They talk about it all the time. We had this deal done.
We got user TT saying the files that are not seen yet are from 2001 to 2019. Oh, to see if my man has shown up with a $2 super chat. There you go. Yes, Mandy, your man has showed up. Oh my goodness. I hope you're ready for this. I hope you're ready for this. By the way, we're going live every single day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat. And this is a special one, custom made for Mandy. Here we go.
Thank you for your support. I love you. Wishing you and your family the best.
There you go, Mandy. There he is. There he is. For some reason, I didn't catch any audio. Did you guys catch audio on that one?
You had a deal that was going to give them legally a nuclear weapon. And if that happened, Israel would have been blown away. And in all fairness to Bibi Netanyahu, who happens to be a good man, gets a little excited sometimes. But he happens to be a very good man. We've had an amazing partnership. He's been an amazing prime minister. We have a little dispute over Lebanon. I say, you can do a little softer touch, Bibi. You don't have to knock down a building every time somebody walks into it that's from Hezbollah. But it's been an amazing partnership. But he will say, we're the big partner, and he's the very small partner, and that's true. So he came to the country, and he begged Barack Hussein Obama, the president, not to do the JCPOA. He said it could be the end of Israel, and it would have been if I didn't come along. And Obama didn't listen to him.
W's in the chat from Mandy saying that's what I'm talking about. Love the Mao. There we go. There we go. Come back from Mandy. Come back from Mandy.
Thank you for your support. I love you. Wishing you and your family the best.
King up Tim Hortons. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Bibi actually went to Congress and pleaded with them, and he got nowhere. And they had this horrible deal that was horrible for Israel, and that's where it stood. And then I came along and I terminated that deal. It had very little time left. You know, it was a short-term deal. You know, with countries, you need hundreds of years. You don't need 8 years and 9 years. This isn't like you're signing a lease on a candy store in the corner. You need hundreds of years. This was a short-term lease. It expired long ago. Had I let it run, it expired. You wouldn't have been around. A lot of people wouldn't have been around. But Israel would have been terminated. I think the whole Middle East would have been terminated. You saw that when everybody was shocked that all these missiles, they were aimed at these different places. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, think of it, Bahrain, Kuwait, they got hit. Nobody thought that was, even I didn't think it was going to happen. They didn't think it was going to happen. They were going to take out the entire Middle East, including Israel. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it within moments after getting it.
That would have been
so I made it very tough for them when I terminated the Barack Hussein Obama catastrophe. JCPOA, one of the worst deals. NAFTA might have been worse, but that was worse economically. This deal was really dangerous, what he did. He gave them everything, including a lot of money, which we don't give them, by the way, just in case you have any question. We'll be giving this out so you can read it and you can see. And it's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to, because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
We got Joyce saying narcissism at its best. What do you mean by that? I got Mandy saying Starmer is a wanker, Waffles. I've missed you.
But they've agreed not to, and you'll see that very clearly in the agreement. But then the second phase of that was they were building, or they were enriching material, as they say. I call it nuclear dust. They were enriching material under granite mountains. Granite being, for those not in the construction business, granite being a very...
Rob Wallace is questioning the legitimacy of POTUS Donald Trump, saying he is stunningly full of S-hit. Everything he says is a lie. Do you agree or disagree, Chad?
Strong, the strongest stone. It's not as pretty as marble, but it's much stronger. It's a lot stronger. Like the new granite I put on the stairs of the White House going to the Oval Office, the black granite, it's rated 1 million years plus. No marble's rated that. Marble's rated 100 years if it's outside. So these are granite mountains, and the B-2s came along and they hit those air shafts in the dark at 1 o'clock in the morning with no moon. They had a beam going right up everywhere. Those guys did a job, and then they were criticized by certain members of the press, like CNN, for possibly not doing that much damage. And it turned out that the damage was far greater. Those mountains collapsed right on top of everything. Nobody's going to get that for a long time unless we want to get it. We'll get it. But we're the only ones that can. And they say China has the equipment to get it, and we have the equipment to get it. And it's actually not valuable. Not a lot of value, but we'd like to get it psychologically, but nobody's touching it. We also have cameras. That's what Space Force is. We have the greatest military in the world, by the way. But I'm proud of Space Force because I started it. We have Space Force cameras on every single door, well, there are no doors, they've been pretty well shattered, but every area of that, if somebody walks in and he's got a badge with his name on it, like Mohammed something, which is about a 50-50 guess, Mohammed something, they can tell the name, they can give you a serial number, we can see things you wouldn't believe the quality of the stuff that we have. That's why we've been so successful.
All right, so somebody in the chat asked, so what happens to the Iranians who protested? They just keep getting extinguished. Yeah, so what is solidly established is the protest began December 28th, 2025 over economic collapse. So the currency crash, inflation, shortages, and grew into the largest uprising since 1979 revolution, spreading to more than 200 cities. The crackdown was severe. Human Rights Watch documented extinguishments in 2025 at a scale unseen since the late 1980s, and the most dangerous protest crackdown in modern Iranian history. HRANA's detailed Crimson Winter reported 7,007 confirmed extinguishments in the first 50 days, plus over 11,700 cases still under review. So it's a pretty big deal. The extinguishments are continuing right now in real time. The most recent, Iran extinguished two men, Javad Zamani and Abul Fazl Saedi, 2 days ago, convicted of Mojave, which is waging war against God. As of this week, the UN says Iran has extinguished at least 40 people in 2026, including 18 protesters. So the answer to do they just keep getting extinguished is grimly that extinguishments of protest-linked detainees are ongoing. Unfortunately, hopefully that stops as soon as possible.
Well, that's why our blockade will go down in the annals of history as being unbelievable. Nobody's ever seen a blockade like that. It's like a steel wall. So what happened is we then terminated that, and I call it the nuclear dust, and that was the end of that. But if we didn't hit that with the B-2 bombers, or if it wasn't successful, they would have had a nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb at a very high level, not the highest, but it would have been a very high level. We have much bigger, but we hope that we're never going to have to use it. We have the most. Russia has second. China is very far behind, but going to catch up, unfortunately. You know, they're catching up, but we have the most. We have the most powerful, but we also have the most, but Russia's not far behind. And then you have China in third place, but within 5 years, they'll be probably even. And we ought to make a denuclearization deal. It would be so great. We don't need all of that. We don't need to be able to blow up the whole world 300 times over. It's terrible. It's really, if we could do a denuke deal, I'd love it. And one of those two is very willing to do it, I will tell you. But the other one is less willing to do it, and you need all of them. So the deal we reached with Iran on Sunday will be signed.
Got Larry Mallet jumping in on the chat saying Democrats whine like whiny Democrats. Agree or disagree?
And shortly, tomorrow, maybe the next day. Subject deals. My whole life is all about deals. That's all I ever did is make deals. And crazy things happen with deals. I've gone into deals where it's a guarantee. No way it can not be signed. And it doesn't get signed. And I've gone into deals that you have no chance of making, and they go like nothing. So, but we're going to most likely sign a deal. They want to sign a deal. and they've been acting very appropriately. They took two hits last week. Those were two very big hits. So, importantly, Iran has agreed that they will neither produce nor procure a nuclear weapon. Neither produce, because originally they said, they talk about that they will not develop a nuclear weapon. And some people found it okay. These guys didn't, in all fairness. But some people, but I didn't like it. Said it won't develop. I said, what happens if they should buy? I don't know. It's very dangerous for somebody to sell, because whoever sells them a nuclear weapon will get nuked themselves. If they sold a nuclear weapon, only a few that could do it, they would be nuked. They wouldn't have that country long. So it's a very dangerous thing for somebody to do. But I wanted it in there. So it's develop, procure, buy, anything. And you'll see that when you see the agreement, but it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way. They've been a good partner. Again, I think they could do better with respect to Hezbollah. I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm saying when two drones are shot into the desert and drop harmlessly, you don't have to knock down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific. But they could do a much better job with Hezbollah. On that, I don't think they're doing well. And I feel very bad for Lebanon. Lebanon's been, it was a great culture. They had the professors, the doctors, the lawyers. It was an incredible culture, maybe the highest in the Middle East for years and years, centuries. And for the last 50, 60 years, they have been just trashed. They have been living in hell. So they'll work closely with us to turn over the so-called enriched material that's very deep in the bowels of the earth, very deep. Nobody can get it. So it's not important that we do it quickly, but we could do it fairly quickly. When we have a chance, we'll do it. But in the meantime, we have cameras on every inch of it. Nobody can do it. And if they do, we'll hit them with Patriots, that's all. And they'll be gone. And they know that. Technical discussions on the removal of all stockpiles of enriched materials will begin immediately. We're going to start that immediately. And unlike...
All right, so we got someone in the chat saying, I think it's hilarious when Democrats mention Operation Ajax, especially when it had no U.S. military personnel involvement. Now Operation Cyclone 1979, that is a whole different ballgame. All right, let's get into it. So allegedly, Ajax was a Republican operation run under Eisenhower. The coup was carried out by the U.S. administration of Dwight D. Eisenhower. And Cyclone was initiated by a Democrat, President Carter, on Brzezinski's advice, with the first aid finding signed in mid-1979, then massively expanded under Reagan. So Cyclone is the bipartisan one, launched by the very party the commenter is dinging. Very, very interesting. Got some historical facts going on. So, allegedly, Ajax did have U.S. military involvement. A U.S. Army General, Schwarzkopf Sr., ran a key part and built the Shah's secret police, then lied about it. And then the other one, judging a covert operation by its troop count, misses the point. So there's deniability is the design, and Ajax matters because it's the template that leads straight to 1979 and the war we are watching right now. And finally, the partisanship is backwards. Ajax was Eisenhower's, a Republican's, Cyclone, started by Carter, a Democrat. So Cyclone was bigger. That's true, but it was also CIA run, not a troop deployment. So military involvement isn't what separates them. Scale and blowback is. So Here it says you can't really say CIA made Al-Qaeda. It helped build the ecosystem. It did not draw the organizational chart.
Barack Hussein Obama, who said,
by the way, we're going live every day of 2026, so make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want.
Iran pallets of cash, and any relief they receive under this deal, they'll have to get based on merit. And it won't be from us. We don't have to give them anything. But some people may want to invest. Like, what are you going to do? Say you can never, ever invest in a country? I mean, it's pretty tough. I don't mind being tough, but it's pretty crazy. You can invest in a country.
Got Jeb Common jumping in the chat saying Jimmy Carter installed the first Ayatollah to Iran in 1979 and started this whole mess. Come on, Carter. What you doing, buddy?
You can invest in any country you want, but you can't invest there. Well,
thank you, Jeb.
Well, they need investment because we did $1.5 trillion, maybe $2 trillion worth of damage. So somebody's going to have to help them out. There's no guarantee about helping them out, and could be their neighbors will help them out a little bit. I don't know.
Oops, sorry.
But it's a lot of money. Almost nobody has that kind of money. That's the kind of damage that was done. But we're not investing any money. There was a fake story. There was a fake news story that got a man, a person, a good person. JD made a statement. It was a perfect statement. And they reported it.
We got Ricky Smith 87 jumping on the chat saying MAGA is stronger than ever. There you go. Agree or disagree?
In a very strange way, but that's why it's fake news, I guess. So we don't give them money. We don't give them any of that. And what happens is with time, if they behave, if they be a citizen of the world, a reasonable citizen of the world. And I think this group, again, I didn't do this for regime change, but I think this group is regime change. I mean, hey, the first group is dead. One little morning, having breakfast, the whole group, they thought they'd never be caught because we never bombed during breakfast, but we bombed, and they all, 88 people. And I'm not proud of that at all, but the second group came in and they were very unreasonable too. And they were all gone. They were all gone. And then the third group, we've been dealing with them. Couple left this planet, but we've been dealing with them. And again, they've been fine. I mean, I've had a lot easier. I've had some easier ones. They're tough, they're smart. Maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has already increased very substantially. And
there we go. We got Rough Frame jumping on the chat saying Carter created the Mujahideen, who were the Mujahid and have always been practitioners of jihad. Surprise, surprise, Democrats. You recreated a monster and have tried to sweep it under the rug, but that monster is too big to fit under that rug. Come on, come on. Do you agree or disagree, chat? What's going on?
the normal flow of energy will resume in the coming days, and trillions of dollars will be made by the world, and the stock market will, I believe, continue to rise. The only difference is that a player that's very volatile, very tough, very smart, frankly, you know, they have in one way a primitive culture, but it's also a genius primitive culture. They're very smart people, very good negotiators, but so are we. So rather than possibly going into a depression, rather than having your favorite president be Herbert Hoover, I was always the one I didn't want to be. I wouldn't have preferred Nixon. I wouldn't have preferred, there are plenty I wouldn't prefer, but the one I always thought of, Herbert Hoover, and he caused it. He raised taxes too fast, and he raised interest rates too fast, all at the same time. And it caused the Great Depression. So I don't think I'll make mistakes like that. I lower taxes, I don't raise taxes. In fact, we just gave you the largest tax decrease, largest tax cut in the history of our country. So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about, and support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. You got to have some. Somebody said, you shouldn't give them one. And I have guys, I like some of these guys. But I don't think they're smart. Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. It doesn't work that way, you know? It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. Missiles they hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet. So the Gulf nations will address the non-nuclear issues. As we'll be talking about the ballistic missiles, and we'll talk also about the terrorist proxies that they have. That we don't want that to happen. But I want to thank our partners in both Pakistan and Qatar. These people work so hard. And they knew him a little bit. In the case of Pakistan, quite well. In the case of Qatar, they were sort of at odds. And, you know, Qatar was great because they had right next door. When I flew from there, from that location to Saudi Arabia, I'd fly for 40 minutes, and I'd fly to UAE for 40 minutes, to great leaders there, by the way. In the case of Saudi Arabia, the father's still alive, and he's fantastic, and the son is going to be great. He's going to be great. The Crown Prince and Mohammed at UAE is an incredible warrior. He was dropping bombs. Last week I said, who the hell's dropping all those bombs? It was UAE. He's a good fighter, Mohammed. But every administration for decades has sought to get Iran to relinquish its nuclear ambitions, but the threat only got bigger. The words got bigger and bigger and stronger and bigger, and nothing ever happened. And Iran got stronger and tougher. If we didn't blow them up the first time and then blow out those weapons, they would have been unstoppable. This should have done, what I'm doing and what I did, should have been done years ago. Would have been much easier, much less firepower. But it wasn't, and
we got a good one. Someone on the stream said 1776 brothers and sisters, we dominate. Very kind, very nice, and that's great energy. And 1776 is a real thing to be proud of, absolutely. But shall we be accurate with what it was? 1776 wasn't we are ruling everything, right? It was a bunch of outgunned people making ethical argument that nobody has the right to rule you without your consent, that you are equal to the king. That is an anti-domination idea. So if 1776 brothers and sisters means we govern ourselves and we are all in this together, I'm with you. If it shades into my team is crushing your team, that's the opposite of what those guys signed. The founding was not a victory lap. It was a promise that's hopefully still being kept or broken, depending on how we treat each other, which honestly ties back to everything we have talked about. You know, peace gets kept by neighbors, not scoreboards, and be nice to each other. And also, we're going live every day of 2026, so make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want. And Takumi, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Again, I want to thank all those countries, and I want to thank Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. So obviously the breakthrough would not have been possible without the unprecedented pressure the United States put on the regime over the past year and a half. But again, it started a long time ago. It started with the death of Soleimani. That was a big deal. No president in history has ever been tougher on Iran than I have, and they know that. And by the way, if they don't honor the agreement, or some things aren't even mentioned in the agreement, it's a memorandum of understanding, but we have an understanding of certain things without writing it. And if they don't honor that, we'll probably go back to bombing them until they honor it, you know? It's amazing what bombs can do. So I say it, the Obama deal was a road to a nuclear weapon.
Cheers, Leeds, LUFC. Hopefully you're having fun in the UK. How are they treating you over there, buddy?
And let's call it the Trump deal, was a wall for a nuclear weapon that the nuclear weapon could not get through. Nobody's going to get through it. We built a wall. They weren't going to have it, and that's what we have right now. And it says very clearly, the most important clause to me, too, number one, the Strait opens, but that's much less important than the other clause. Clause number whatever, 5, 8, is a very strong statement that they will never have a nuclear weapon. And it doesn't say they'll have one in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. With Obama, they were able to enrich very quickly. This agreement now provides Iran with a historic opportunity. If they follow the path of cooperation, will have opened for them, their country will have a chance to survive. Now think of it, you know, they have 91 million people. People want me to bomb the bridges. Why don't I bomb? I already did, because, you know, they went back on one of their promises and I bombed their biggest bridge, the equivalent of that was the George Washington Bridge of Iran. But we bombed that bridge, you saw that. One quick strike by an F-22, the most beautiful fighter jet ever made, by the way. In fact, we're ordering some more of them. We're bringing it out because it's so effective. It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, look, we have the greatest military in the world. Those B-2 bombers are unbelievable. Who would have thought they could handle, each had 2 because the flight was so long, but they handle 3 of the biggest, heaviest bombs, hundreds of thousands of pounds, and they handle them like they're nothing. It's amazing. And also, they're undetectable. They flew into Iran, totally, think of it, totally undetected. Now, Iran's waiting for them. They're waiting for them. And they never saw them. 1 o'clock in the morning, they never saw them. They're stealth. And we just ordered 22 more. The newer, upgraded version, which I guess is better. I don't know how the hell you get better. But as I expressed to the world leaders here this week, it's my hope that the peace agreement will be the beginning of a much larger deal all across the Middle East. We're very close. Look at the job we've done on Gaza. Look at Hamas. Hamas has been very silent. You haven't read anything about Hamas. And we're trying to get them unarmed. You know, they grew up with a machine gun in their hand. I think they actually, when they were born, they came out with a machine gun in their hand. So it's not the easiest thing, but they've actually, you know, behaved pretty well, considering this was not the lifestyle that they were taught to have. But including an end to all Iranian aggression, they're not going to be Iranian aggression, and an end to war and terror in Lebanon. So the Lebanon peace.
There we go. We got Riding with Ron saying goats, meaning greatest of all time. Do you agree or disagree?
Is something we'll have to work on a little bit. It's a very small piece of the puzzle, actually, but it still makes a lot of noise. The big deal is the Iran deal. That's where the money is, where the power was. But they have Hezbollah, and we got to get that done one way or the other. We'll do it. I think Israel can do a much better job on it. Syria would love to do it. I was very responsible for the gentleman at Syria that's now the president of Syria. He's done a tremendous job. He's put that country together in a year and a half. Sort of like our country, a year and a half. It's pretty similar size. They said, please don't put him there. He's a very violent man. Al-Qaeda. I said, well, I know one thing, a Boy Scout's not going to work. And he's actually done a very good job. He'd love to go in it. You know, Hezbollah is an enemy of his, and he'd go in, but he wouldn't knock down buildings every time he hears there's somebody. He'd just go and get them with precision. But I don't know that people want that. Maybe they don't. Maybe Lebanon doesn't. We have to be guided a little bit by Lebanon. And by the way, the president is going to be coming, Prime Minister, President, going to be coming over to see us very shortly, over the next week or 2. Good man. He's, you know, man is living. What a tough life he's got, because he's got tough groups of people. And it's amazing. Amazing there is a Lebanon with all they've been through. They have been treated worse than just about, I think, anybody. Disrespected incredibly. So the expansion of the Abraham Accords is the other thing that we hope we're going to get. And I think Saudi Arabia, if they lead the way, they'd be doing themselves a big favor, because everybody that's in it, UAE went in right from the beginning. Again, he's a warrior. And they never got out. Nobody ever got out. You think maybe during the war. They were all afraid of, everybody was afraid of Iran. And that's why we ended up with the original members. But then when the election was rigged, that's right, and I wasn't here at all, nobody cared about anything. The country went to hell in every way. That was the least of it. Middle East was the least of it. The country went to hell, allowing 25 million people into the country, unchecked and unvetted, many of them criminals.
So someone in the chat said, Starmer is done soon, pal. There you go. Talking about the UK Prime Minister about to lose his job, and unlike a lot of chat predictions, this one's grounded. Starmer is in a real crisis. Catastrophic local elections. A quarter of his own MPs telling him to go. Cabinet resignations and a by-election today that could hand his rival Andy Burnham a launchpad for a challenge. So precarious, absolutely, but done, not yet. No challenge has actually been filed. 100 plus MPs are defending him, and he's survived final chance moments before. Is he going to survive this one? We will see. I guess the thing to watch isn't the mood, it's the mechanism. Does Burnham win that seat? And does someone formally pull the string, I guess, you know? Predicting... no, we can't talk about that.
Criminals, many of them murderers, 11,888 murderers allowed into our country. So this was the least of it. But the past 2 days have also provided an opportunity to discuss a number of other key issues with members of the G7 and our partners. Yesterday morning, we had a productive conversation on the war in Ukraine. I spoke with President Putin. I spoke with President Zelensky, and he was there. And President Putin I spoke over the phone with. And something's going to happen. They're losing a lot of people, a lot of soldiers. They're losing soldiers. Both are losing a lot. Russia's losing more because they're the offensive ones. And when you're offensive in war, you lose more. Pretty simple. But I provided an update on my call Sunday with President Putin and expressed my continued hope. We had a very good conversation with President Putin and a very, very good conversation with President Zelensky. I think they both want to do something. They just don't know how to do it. They want to do it, they just don't know how. In our session yesterday afternoon on international partnerships, I offered an update on how the United States is leading the world in responding to the Ebola outbreak in Africa, sending $375 million in aid so far to help stop and contain the crisis at its source, and we've done great. I was with the president of a couple of presidents came over, by the way, from African nations, and they were so happy with what we did. But where it's unfair is we gave $375 million. The rest of the world gave.
So we heard POTUS talk about the Abraham Accords, right? The Abraham Accords are one of those things where both the cheerleaders and the haters are half right. The good is real. Countries that were technically at war now have embassies, trade, and reason not to shoot. And for the U.S., that's influence kept through business instead of bases. The bad is also real. It largely goes around the Palestinians instead of solving anything for them. It often greased with massive arms sales, and there are genuine conflict of interest questions about who profited from brokering it. The deepest critique isn't peace is bad, it's that peace between governments over the head of populations with the core grievance unresolved may not last. So the honest answer to good or bad is good at reducing the kind of war we've been watching, and risky if it buries a problem that has a way of coming back. We got to take a look at one thing, though. Does Saudi Arabia get a real Palestinian state commitment in exchange? If yes, the good case strengthens a lot. If it signs without one, the bad critique gets its strongest evidence.
If essentially nothing, maybe a couple of bucks, but nothing. And they were all saying, thank you so much. And I think they've done a good job. It's a terrible thing. Ebola is a terrible thing. That's an unbelievable one. Fortunately, it's not like COVID where it's that easy to spread around, but it's rough. And we've done a good job. We've moved people to certain quarantine, certain locations. But today we also had excellent meetings on the economy and artificial intelligence, which is amazing what's going on with that. It's going to be the biggest thing ever. We have to be very careful with it. It's both great and could be bad. We have to be careful with it. But we're leading China, we're leading the world on that. We're allowing them to do their own electric plants because they need, as an example, those buildings are so big. And they're not taking the community's electricity. I gave them the right, it's my idea, I gave them the right to build electric plants like Con Edison in New York. Dig we must. And they've come up with plants that nobody's ever seen anything like them. Those are by very high IQ people. So they're actually building electric plants. So, because otherwise they could never build a building because the grid is old and tired and broken and a mess. So they're building it and they're going to sell very cheaply, they're going to sell their extra electricity into the grid. So we take care of a lot of things like California, which doesn't have nearly enough electricity. They don't know what they're doing there. And instead of having blackouts and brownouts, they'll be able not to. We found a great deal of unity here at the G7, and we signed a declaration on illegal immigration, the first time ever for a G7 statement. They did a beautiful statement. We signed other agreements to step up and to really coordinate and spend a lot of time coordinating drug trafficking and the stopping of drug trafficking, which is crazy. It comes through Mexico, comes through the southern border, the little that comes through. They find a way, they put it, they're genius. If they would use that genius for good, they'd be very rich people. They have it in engines, they have it in hubcaps, they have it in areas you wouldn't even believe. They have it in the structures of cars. Most incredible thing. But we've done a great job on it. We have drugs coming through the border are down 61%. Drugs coming through water, the sea, ocean, sea, Gulf, down 97.2%. That's the ones that get hit. Just like we hit the Iranian minesweepers and mine droppers, they call them. They dropped. Who would have 28 mine droppers? Who has 28 mine droppers? They actually had them, but they don't have them anymore. We hit them just like we hit the drug dealers.
Oi, oi, how you doing, buddy? Good to see ya.
But drugs are down by water 97%, and over 60% they're down, and now we're going to go and focus on the land. They come through Mexico. Mexico has lost control of their country. The cartels run Mexico, and it's sad. And the president's a very good woman, but she's a very scared woman. The drug cartels are totally running Mexico. It's not even close. We agreed to accelerate our efforts to secure our critical minerals and rare earth supply chains, where we have great companies really going to town. We're going to give everybody a big run because we do it better and we had to get motivated. The G7 also agreed that the United States' new approach to international development based on the private sector investment is working at levels that they never thought possible. It's really working. I held a number of very positive bilateral meetings, including with the President of France. It was a very good meeting, actually. The Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim, who's, I tell you, I wish I could really know the guy. You know, some people say, well, he lived in that neighborhood. You can't be saying things that you'd like to have him say. He was fantastic on this, and he's been a fantastic guy in terms of energy and getting energy out there. President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, who's an amazing warrior. President El-Sisi of Egypt. Prime Minister Modi of India. We spent a long time together.
All right, so somebody in the chat said So his first wife fell down her stairs. How convenient. She had an elevator in her apartment. What can I say? Okay. Got to do a little check-in out of that. I think she's referring to Donald Trump, and she's also talking about Ivana Trump. And I think it's a she by the name. I don't know for sure. Excuse me if I mislabel you. It looks like she was extinguished at 2022 at the age of 73. And the New York City medical examiner ruled it an accidental fall, not a rumor, not a mystery, an official ruling. The she had an elevator line is meant to feel sinister, but a 73-year-old falling on stairs is the single most common accidental extinguishment in that age group. So if you know somebody around that age, make sure they are safe and careful around stairs. So elevator or not, the coroner is who decides if a extinguishment is suspicious. Yeah, be careful out there, people.
Today, I spoke to Mohammed. I spoke to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia a number of times. They're all so happy that they're still. You have to have them happy too, you know. We're using their airports. Not that they could stop us if we didn't want them to, but it'd be nice that I went to get that little sucker. But I missed. I hate missing. But we spoke to all of them and many countries all over the world. So every country, I think Israel too. Look, think of what Israel's getting. They're not going to be nuked. It's very simple. I told Bibi, your biggest risk was that they'd drop a nuclear weapon into the middle of Israel. They'd only need one, and there would be no more Israel. Think of it, Bibi. You got the best, the most important thing that you were asking for is that. So I think they're happy. Some people are.
We got Cassie Patriot saying Democrats made up 100 genders. There you go. Did not know that is possible. Agree or disagree, chat. By the way, we're going live every day of 2026. So like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want.
Going to be not him, but there are some people, some writers, some that I thought were friends of mine, but I don't want them as friends anymore because they're either stupid or they're bad people. But we stopped nuclear holocaust, and it stopped too. I mean, there's not going to be any of that. So from the beginning to the end.
Trump's not wasting any time. He's just giving the celebration speech right now. Definitely. Seems like a celebration, a victory speech.
And it was clear that this week, America's back. It's bigger and better and stronger. We're more respected as a country right now, I think, than we ever have been. And we were a laughingstock 2 years ago. They would laugh at us. We had a man that should have never been there. You know that. A man that would walk up to a podium once every year, and they'd ask him, what flavor ice cream do you like? I like vanilla. Then he'd try and find the stairs, which he couldn't find most of the time, and he'd leave.
I like vanilla.
This is very unfair reporting. And then you said you didn't know about that. You didn't know there was something wrong. We can never let that happen to our country again. To me, the worst. We had the worst inflation ever. We had the worst in prices and the costs. It's all coming down now because the oil is bringing it down. You're going to see numbers that are going to be amazing. But this evening, I look forward to a very special dinner with President Macron. And it's.
Oh, there we go. We got someone in the chat that's donating language lessons. We got Rifle saying, yes, I taught your mother Dinglish. There you go. With some vegetables attached. Maybe a healthy chef. So if you have any mothers that want to learn any new languages, maybe Rifle can help you with that.
Fabulous wife at the
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, but that one's funny.
Palace of Versailles. I sort of like that palace. Palace has a lot of gold. I want to check it out. It's a beautiful palace, maybe the most beautiful of all. I hope you're going to get to see it. The ones that are traveling with me, I hope you're going to get to see it because it's amazing. But they asked me if I'd stay a little bit longer and go to Paris. So I'll get home a little bit later, but it'll be a nice dinner. But I'm interested to see it. That's the ultimate, I guess.
There we go. User TT saying gas is going down. Thank the Lord. Rough Frame saying $3.50 a gallon here.
The ultimate of its type. Louis XIV, celebrating the 250th anniversary of America's founding and America's oldest.
Mama X Studio says Democrats have destroyed this country and brainwashed its supporters. Unfortunately, I think you are very accurate in certain situations. Absolutely, unfortunately.
Alliance, and we're celebrating that a little bit tonight. They'll have the biggest people in Europe at the dinner, and those people love our country, and hopefully Europe is going to find its way. Europe is having a lot of hard times. They're doing some things very badly on energy and on immigration. Yep. They're doing things very badly, and we'll be talking about that tonight. So with that all said, if you want to ask us any questions, feel free to ask the people behind me. Yeah, Peter?
Bonjour. You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this reconstruction fund.
Only if they're doing things right. Only if we're not doing anything. We're not putting up money. Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also. When you talk about
how much is that?
$300 million fund. It's only
$300 million fund, right?
Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right.
Okay, then he said billion.
But remember this also. When you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. There'll be 15 to 20 years to rebuild what they have right now. So they have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. They'll be hit again because we can do it very easily. It's going to take a long way for them to build back their anti-aircraft stuff. It's going to take, and the other thing I want to thank China, President Xi, I was with him.
Thank you, Never Under Pressure and Douglas Williams, for that clarification. Appreciate it, buddies.
And he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. Somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thanking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. They have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said I would really appreciate.
Okay, so allegedly $300 billion to Iran is misleading. It's a fund Iran can access for reconstruction if it complies. And it's an international investment fund the U.S. would help facilitate, not a check handed over. Investment fund companies pay into does not equal cash given to the regime. Both critics and headline. Okay, so I think what's the interest rate on that? If it's is it a loan? It's an investment fund. Like, there has to be a catch to that, right? The number is not confirmed, and the players won't all verify it. It started as a reparations demand and got reframed. A senior Iranian source said Tehran originally sought $400 billion as compensation for war damages from the U.S., but Washington said it will not provide it. Okay. And it's a framework, not done. So the 60-day memorandum is a framework, not a final agreement. Administration by whom? and how is still to be worked out. All right. Yeah, and Trump says we're not putting up 10 cents. Okay. Very interesting what's going on over here.
You're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars?
Well, the unfreezing, that's an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, you know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under.
There you go. We got someone in the chat saying more debt for taxpayers. There you go. Airborne sending some funny emojis.
Me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
And I did just want to ask you about this. A wise man once said in January of 2020, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. That wise man.
Who said that?
Donald Trump.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going to say.
So how do you go back to the United States and convince a skeptical American public that this deal is a
look,
win?
Here they lost militarily, okay? It's very tough because I know that no matter what, if I would go, by the way, if I'd go another 3 or 4 weeks, those same people that are critical would say, he went too long, he should have done, you know, no matter what. If they raised the white flag of surrender, and if they said, praise be to Allah, Donald Trump is the greatest president ever. We totally concede, we totally give up. This war is over, we have failed. The New York Times and CNN and a couple of others, they're not all that dishonest, they'd say, Iran had a great victory, okay? And they practically do that. You know, it's amazing, when we knocked out their last ship, they had 159 ships. When we knocked out the last ship, the Times refused to do it.
If the Times or CNN are misreporting, what would be an accurate deterrent? Like, hey, you're saying something inaccurate. You're not allowed to say that. And if they did do that, would that challenge the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of press?
Do a story on it. I said, why wouldn't you? They don't have a Navy, and you don't want to do a story on it. They don't have an Air Force, you don't want to do a story. We need a fair press. And that's why they're all doing so badly, because they lost credibility. When I win in a landslide, and I had 93% bad press, they take good stories about me and make them bad. But the only reason that happened is because they have so little, the media has so little credibility that the people voted for me. 93% of the stories on network, ABC is horrible. I think ABC is the worst. NBC is terrible. And CBS is terrible. CNN, obviously. And I never get good stories, no matter what I do. I could do the greatest thing. I won't get good stories on this. I'll get it from fair media. I'll get it from all over the world. They're writing good. But no matter what I do, I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about 500, 600.
Q, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
$700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Soleimani? Ask that of the general. And
got Oi Oi jumping down in the chat saying, hear that, Democrats? Trump is paying off the extortionist Iran with their own money. You have to love Trump. He is so OG. There you go, chat. Agree or disagree?
a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead. How about you?
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. I'd give you more, Peter, but people will say I like you too much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bonsoir. Mr.
You know, he told me that first day in office, he asked me like 7 questions. I answered all of them. Is this true? He said, he just answered more questions in one meeting than Joe Biden did in 4 years, okay? You know, I'm not going to get you in trouble, but that's what you said. Go ahead.
Bonsoir, Mr. President.
And just to add to that, he is correct. The press has lost a lot of credibility. That's measured, not opinion. And we have watched the failures in person, you know, from all of those fake stories and fake cures for certain illnesses. Absolutely. And, you know, people being taken advantage of without even knowing it happening, and many people losing family members, which is not so good. But can't let that bring you down. I guess just live and learn, right? And so fake news describes both bad reporting and true reporting someone hates. All right, y'all, we're going live every day of 2026. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you want. Become a member.
The art of the deal. You write about the importance of leverage.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a lot of leverage when it comes to Iran, whether
Tremendous
it's militarily or through economic sanctions. What leverage, sir, do you have when it comes to Israel and Hezbollah to ensure that they abide by the ceasefire?
Well, I think we have leverage just by the fact that we really have Iran now has to be good. They have to behave. And we might help. That's a much smaller conflict. It's a conflict that should be able to be over with. I'm surprised it's taken so long. And it's a much smaller, but we have a lot of leverage. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest, most powerful. Look at the blockade. By the way, the blockade.
Othman B, thank you for the chat. Which illness was circulating around 2020?
Was more impactful than all of the bombing raids where we dropped $1 billion worth of bombs on Iran. The blockade was so incredible. The naval blockade, the admiral, the whole thing, not one ship got through. That meant no money got through. They were dying. They had no money. They have inflation that's 250 or 300%. They have no money. We have tremendous leverage. We have the leverage of the economy as an example. We'll get that done. That's a small one, and we'll work with Israel and get it done. But I'd like to do it. I mean, you have people living there. Buildings are being dropped on top of them or right alongside of them. How would you like to live there? It's so unfair, especially Beirut. You know, you go into Beirut, and I looked at the scene 2 days ago, yesterday, where they hit. That was a big hit. That was unnecessary in my book. Yeah, please.
2 questions. If you could clarify something you said just a few minutes ago. One of the goals of Epic Fury going into it, you said was...
Say it again. Speak up.
Sorry. One of the goals of Epic Fury, you said going into it, was to destroy Iran's ballistic missiles and its capabilities to build more.
Yeah.
Why is it acceptable to you now that they keep some of that capability? And Iran is...
What are they keeping? What are they keeping? They have less than other nations now. We knocked out probably 84, 85% of their missiles. The rest of them are underground. They can't even get them out. You know, the other night's raid, I think it was on the first night, we knocked out hundreds of their missiles. Actually, by mistake, we were hitting an area, and you can sort of see when the bombs are going off, and then you see one that looks like, wow, what happened? A lot of missiles knocked out. No, but what are you going to do? Let's spend another 2 weeks and give them none. They don't want to be firing missiles right now. They're going to have a hard time rebuilding. And if people from the Middle East, if people want to invest, and again, they don't have to invest at all, but if they do want to invest, it does have oil. It does have probably a future, but it's going to take a long time. But are you going to let the 91 million people starve to death? I mean, one of the things I was very intent on, they have water desalination plants, very good ones. I could have knocked them out in 5 minutes, just like I knocked out Cargill, and I knocked out everything but the oil. I said 25, it was so complete. The only thing there is the pipes coming with the oil, because I didn't want to ruin the world market, because they do a lot of money. But I didn't want to do that, no. It would have been so easy. It would have been easier, and I would have satisfied a group of 10% of the...
What a good man. What a good man. Just hearing that is so refreshing, to know that he could have ruined their water supply, but chose not to. Chose to take the higher path. Well done. W's in the chat for POTUS President Trump. By the way, we're going live every day of 2026. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want.
The people, but it would have been the wrong thing to do, and it could have caused an international depression. Maybe not.
Iran's position has always been that their nuclear program was for civilian purposes. If they come back after the signing of this and say they want to continue to have a civilian nuclear program, is that acceptable to you?
Well, I've said to them always, I say, look, you have probably the third largest oil reserves in the world. What the hell do you need nuclear for? You need nuclear for some electricity. So I've always felt that way. So we've been pretty tough in that. You know, it is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense, please. New York Times, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Now that you're approaching a new phase in this conflict with Iran, can you now say whether you will hold anyone in your administration accountable for the strike on a school that killed more than 100 children on the first day of the war?
No, if it was a fault, and as you know, that's under investigation, it's such a strange question to be asked at this state, because you're talking about a long time ago, but nobody did that on purpose. I guess you'd have to say about them, what about the thousands of soldiers that they blew up when they opened their car door? What about the thousands of people that were killed by Iran? No, mistakes are made. The war is nasty. But I know it's under investigation, and I could have a report for you tomorrow, or I would ask Pete Hegseth that question, because they have it under investigation. Please.
Mr. President, you've been saying all week that this deal permanently prevents Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, but the drafts of the deal that have been floating around barely mention Iran's nuclear program. So can you explain how exactly the deal achieves that goal?
So when I say permanently, it should be permanently. But if it's not permanently, we will bomb them. They will be bombed, just like I bombed them on Wednesday night and Tuesday night, and was going to bomb them on Thursday night at a level that was 3 times greater, and they knew that. I will bomb them. Now, that's with me as president. If you have a weak, pathetic president, maybe that doesn't happen, but I can only do the job that I have to do. I have a long time to go. I have almost 3 years, close to 3 years. Time is going fast. But our country's become we're the most respected country in the world. Those leaders today, they said, we used to laugh at you. 2 years ago, the same guys, they'd laugh at the country. And now they say, you're the most respected country anywhere in the world. Militarily, even military. Take a look at what happened look at what happened in so many different locations. Afghanistan, that horrible retreat that these people made, leaving equipment behind. They weren't under any pressure. You take your time. You can get out. I was going to get out. We were going to get out with dignity and pride, take 100% of the equipment. I was even taking the tents down. But then they got in and they just left. They left all the equipment. I may get all that equipment back. Now, here's the thing. More symbolic, because it's a little old now. But we may get it all back. Afghanistan is kissing our ass. You know that?
So you're threatening to bomb Iran if they don't comply, but there's nothing enforceable in the deal itself. Is that correct?
Doesn't have to be. I let them know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to say I'm going to take you to court? Let me take you to court. Let me sue you. No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement. I don't want them to. I want them to honor the...
Alrighty, so we got someone in the chat saying nuclear energy is literally the most efficient and clean energy that we have. Iran was exporting that energy to China, providing a significant amount of energy to the Chinese economy. Thank you for the chat. So we can split it into three, I guess. Nuclear is among the cleanest and most energy dense power we have. That's basically correct. I guess literally the most isn't accurate unless you attach an asterisk because of waste and thermal losses. Also, Iran does not export nuclear energy to China as far as we know. That's impossible. There's no grid between them. But Iran does sell China oil, about 80% and of its crude fueling China's economy at a discount. Someone heard energy and crossed the wires, maybe. And finally, calling it just clean energy skips the whole reason there is a war. The same centrifuges that make reactor fuel and bomb material. So is it going to be an energy or a weapon? That's the unanswerable question. The deal is built around clean energy. Fact is true. But it does not settle the weapons fear. Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, we're going live every day of 2026, so make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want.
The agreement. Again, the straits close up. Bad things can happen. You know, in war, terrible things happen. Like you mentioned the question before about a school gets hit. Other things get hit. Bad things happen in war. War is a nasty place. I see it.
How you doing, buddy?
I see it. I see it better than maybe anybody has ever seen.
There we go. Jigsaw player says, best president ever.
In it.
The agreement with the Israelis.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, President Trump. Oil prices are now plummeting. How do you see?
We got a huge up and down the chat saying Biden did not follow Trump's plan. Trump was not leaving all the weapons behind.
This agreement further affecting energy prices in the U.S. and the U.S. economy in the long term? And secondly, Mr. President, how do you think Vice President J.D. Vance did on The View yesterday?
Well, first of all, thank you for the word plummeting, because that's what's happening. Oil prices are plummeting. And that means oil prices are going to come down. You know, if you make donuts, you have a heating, you have a stove, and you have to buy the heat. You need the gas or the electricity or whatever you're using. And when oil prices come down, oil is the biggest thing. Oil is, you get oil prices coming down, and they're going to come down. And we're hitting into threes now for gasoline, and that'll come down a lot lower. So I was in Iowa just before this started, and I was saying to myself, I can't believe we're doing so well, but I have to go, and we have to put out this fire in Iran because I don't want them using a nuclear weapon. They would have used a nuclear weapon. 100% they would have used it. The only question is, was it going to be that day or that week? They would have used a nuclear weapon. They were on the way. And I said, we're going to have to put out the fire. And I said, you know, oil prices, so gasoline, we passed 2 gas stations in Iowa.
How you doing, Magic Man?
Speech up there. The people are great. I won it by so much. And I love the people, farmers. And we passed 2 gas stations. One was $1.85. One was $1.91. Now, that's Iowa. But it was, I mean, California has all those crazy taxes that they put on, you know, California taxes. But the oil was down to $2 to, I'd say, between $2 and $2.50. And it was heading down further. And we were going to have a great run. We took a little journey down to a place called the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we bombed the hell out of them, and now they can never have a nuclear weapon. Now, we had a disturbance, but I must say it was much less than anybody thought. The oil never went to $350 a barrel. It went to $115, $120. The oil never went anywhere near that. And the other thing, I thought the stock market would go down 25 or 30%. The stock market a week ago, before we started this, was higher than it was when we started, which tells you that we have a very resilient.
Thank you, Magic Man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Economy. We have the strongest economy we've ever had. Now, the word affordability is a fake word made up by the Democrats. Here's where it's fake, because they made it up. Because I inherited these prices. And when I had my first news conference, first day, they started screaming affordability, the Democrats. Affordability, affordability, they're screaming. I say, what's that all about? They gave it to me. They gave it to me. It's affordability. And they used that word to a fare thee well. Well, they were the ones that created the affordability crisis. I'm the one that got it down. Remember, highest insurance rates in history, highest rates for everything. Eggs, remember eggs? They were 4 times more expensive than they were in my administration.
Yep.
And I got it down, Peter, very quickly. Our secretary did a good job of agriculture, Brooke. She did a great job with eggs and everything else. And now that the oil is coming down, you're going to see everything follow. Everything follows the cost of energy. And we're going to end up having the lowest energy anywhere in the world. Please. Yeah. No, please.
Thank you.
You're from ABC. You're fake news. Go ahead.
The roast has begun. So just a little bit more clarification on the $300 billion. There is no interest rate because it is mostly not a loan. The fund is described as a private investment vehicle, not a reconstruction or reparations program. With no government money or grants, an investment fund takes equity stakes and shares in profits. It doesn't charge interest the way a loan does. So what's the interest rate is the wrong frame. All right, so there's no interest rate. All right, but they would just they take shares in profits and they take stakes. All right, and firstly, it's not signed, not created, and not funded. And half is already committed, but a commitment does not equal cash. And there is also the Vance whiplash, the most revealing 48 hours. All right. Monday, he told CBS Iran could have access to the fund by Monday night on Hannity. He said, not a single dime of American money. We would invite other countries to invest. And we got the relabeling war as the actual story. Yeah, there's a lot happening over here, folks, and we're gonna try to get to the accuracies of it.
To follow up on oil, can you confirm, will Iran be able to immediately sell their oil to market? And will U.S. sanctions snap back immediately if there is a delay or collapse in the...
We got a super chat. There we go. SDJ 1100. Thank you for your $2 Very kind of you. Saying, slow down, Dems. You're gonna OD on that copium. Oh my gosh. Veronica, you gotta get out here for SDJ. Show SDJ some love, please.
Thank you for your support. I love you. Wishing you and your family the best.
There we go. Go on and do your push-ups. Thank you so much for your super chat.
The talks. And then relatedly, is there any safeguard in this deal to prevent Iran from charging what they say could be fees after the 60-day extension?
The thing that's going to stop them from doing that, because you can't cover everything in a document, is common sense. They don't want to get bombed. They don't want to get hit. As far as sanctions are concerned, at some point, we have sanctions which will never let them rebuild. They would have no money. They would be in poverty. The 91 million people would starve. So something will happen as soon as they behave. When they behave, we're going to let that go. We're going to have to. I put sanctions on a lot of people, and then I let them go. A lot of countries. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Shinji Abe. I'm a Japanese Yomiuri newspaper company from the Washington correspondent. My question is about the Strait of Hormuz.
All right, you all let them know.
Did you ask other G7 nations to send military force? And what specifically are you asking of Japan? Or
where are you from?
I'm from Japan.
From where?
Japan. And is
I just
military
left,
support?
I just left your prime minister. Japan's doing very well. She's my biggest fan, I have to tell you. She thinks I did a great job. You have to call her and ask her.
And,
She's doing a very good job, by the way. Go ahead.
And military support is no longer necessary.
Yeah, but what do you want to know? Go ahead, just tell me. What do you want to know?
Okay, my question is, did you ask other G7 nations to send military force? And what specifically are you asking of Japan?
To send the Air Force? For what?
We asked any country to send military force.
Oh, other countries, not just Japan. No, I don't need. We don't need it. Oh, by the way, they all want to do it. They all want to do it. Every single one of them. They want to go be a part of it now. Not while the war was going on. I was a little disappointed. The UK, I said, yeah, it would be nice if you sent ships. I didn't put a hard sell on, but I said it would be nice if you sent some ships. And the Prime Minister said, they'll be there, sir, as soon as the war is over. I said, did he just say that? I couldn't believe it, actually. Japan has offered to get involved, but I mean, I'll be honest, Japan was not.
Thank you. You appreciate it.
Willing to get involved.
Next time you can at me so I see it for sure.
During the war. I asked her, I said, you want to get involved a little bit? I didn't put the heavy sell on, but they said, no, we don't want to get involved. Nobody did. We did it ourselves with Israel and with the Arab states that got hit, surprisingly hit. Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Mr. President. Question on Brazil. I would like to know, how was your interaction here in Evian during the G7 with the Brazilian President Lula? Did you talk about the new U.S. tariffs on Brazil? Did you talk about the U.S. designation
We got the best chat in the world, y'all.
of criminal gangs
Yeah,
as
no, we
terrorists?
did. We
And
did.
how was it?
I spent a lot of time with him, actually, and it's become a little rough country, right? Politically. It's been a little dangerous politically. You're talking about Brazil. Yeah. It's been nasty. I hear they arrested somebody that's running for office today. I found that out after we left. I just said goodbye to him, and I heard that they arrested the Bolsonaro Jr. He was doing well in the polls, and they arrested him because he made a statement in Texas. They arrested him, or they want to arrest him. They have something out for his arrest. No, they play pretty tough. But nobody plays tougher than the United States. Look, our elections are totally rigged. We have rigged elections.
Yeah.
Please, in the back. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, President.
Thank you.
Sumu Sakamoto, the Asahi Shimbun. For G7, the concept of the rule of law has long been considered the core principle. During this summit, any of the leaders expressed any concerns on the possible violation of international law on the attack on Iran?
No, actually the opposite. They felt they were very dangerous. They were very relieved because they could get hit too. They were very relieved. No, we never discussed that. No, it'd be the opposite. They broke the law. They killed thousands of people. They killed thousands of our soldiers and hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. President,
yes.
Yesterday, the Pakistan thanks for the Chinese government to help make a peace talk between Iran and the United States. So, what do you think about the China's work to get the United States and Iran sitting down to talk and make the deal? And the second question is.
Okay. Let me answer the question.
Okay.
So I think China's been terrific. I told you that before. They could have been bad. They could have sent in.
How you doing, Anita?
To try and block or break the blockade. They could have sent in an oil ship with 6 destroyers alongside of it on each side. They didn't do that. President Xi helped me. He tried to help, and I think he probably helped get it solved. You know, they get 50% of their oil from that location. So that wasn't that easy. President Xi was fantastic. He tried to help me solve it. And he didn't give any big weaponry. I guess we'll find something somewhere along the line, but he didn't give any big weaponry, I can tell you that. No, I think China I couldn't ask for much more. Again, they were impacted because they get more than 50% of their oil from the Hormuz Strait. And no, I thought they were fantastic. Okay, how about one more question?
That's absolutely refreshing that there's a good relationship happening there, according to POTUS Donald Trump. Very nice.
Right here. Go ahead, please.
The latest YouGov Economist poll shows that Democrats have lost a 5-point edge on the generic congressional ballot. They just have now just a 2-point lead since February. Do you think that they're losing momentum?
Well, I see the Republicans in generics. You know, generics are very important. I don't know how accurate, because I see a lot of bad polls. The polls are very dishonest, just like a lot of reporters, like these people over here, are very dishonest. CNN, ABC, it's a whole group of them over there. They're really dishonest people. But, you know, and really networks are very dishonest. And they have to straighten themselves out, or they're not going to be very successful, because people don't believe them anymore. But no, the generics are very interesting because the Republicans are coming up strong even before this. You know why? They're seeing all these lunatics, like the guy in Maine with the swastika. You know, for 10 years they've been calling me a Nazi. And now they have a Nazi running. He's got a tattoo on him. I've been denying it for 10 years. They know it's not so, but they've been calling. I don't think they can call it to me anymore. You know, one more? One more? Go ahead, Peter. Let me finish with Peter, because he's been better to me than he's been to Biden.
Thank you, President Trump. I have a question about this weekend. Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
So just to make note about the China-U.S. peace deal, who has more leverage, the country who's purchasing 90% of Iran's oil, China or Trump? That's a good question there.
I might.
You might.
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of a document that I should be signing.
Is there some element to this where you send the vice president, if it works out?
Thank you, Bill Andy. Appreciate it, buddy.
Great, you look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president.
I like that idea, sure. Well, this way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
What a legend. What a great display. Looks very nice up there. Very, very nice. Great lighting. Good shots. There we go.
Fox News alert, oui. Trump just landed in Paris. After the G7, 47 swung through the French capital to commemorate America 250. The Treaty of Paris ended the Revolutionary War. They toasted the occasion in the world's largest royal palace.
We're going to Versailles for dinner with some of Europe's great people, and we'll see how that works out. I think it'll be very good. The president will be there with Madam, and I think we're going to have a good time.
The president signed another treaty at dinner. More on that in a sec. But the Europeans are already telling 47, merci.
You've seen European leaders interact very warmly with you at the summit. Do you think that they're coming around to your worldview?
Well, I think they think I was right. I'm sort of always right.
They do call him daddy, but they can also
How do you feel about that one?
call him this.
Hello, I'm the boss. How are you?
They gave the boss a big gift.
What an entertainer. What an entertainer.
The EU trade deal We raised tariffs on them, and they dropped a bunch of tariffs on us to zero. Money's being made, and love was in the air.
He was in a hotel, and I met him, and we fell in love, deeply in love. And he didn't even want to see Hillary. He said,
"How you doing, Bill Leslie?"
"You're going to win. I don't want to meet her." He said, "You're going to win." He didn't want to see her. Remember that?
The atmosphere was intoxicating. Deals seemed to turn Trump on.
You know, deals are amazing. I've done them all my life. I've gone into deals that were 100% and they don't happen. I've gone into deals that there was no chance of getting them done, and it happens, and they happen easily. So you never know with deals, do you? But you're going to find out pretty soon. I think it'll be done. They want to sign. They want to get back to a normal life.
And Fox News alert, President Trump just signed.
Now, just curious, when the price of oil continues to drop and drops very low, are you going to support Donald Trump more or less? Thank you, Bill Andy. Happy to have you on board, buddy. By the way, make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want.
The Iran deal over dinner.
It's signed. It's signed. I signed it.
He said it.
They snapped a pic of the sheet and
Oi says if the DOJ, the Department of Justice, arrested everyone in the Island Man files, the Democrats would not have any more donors. Agree or disagree with Oi?
emailed it to the gay Ayatollah. Without Wi-Fi, you'll probably get it Friday. And Primetime just got our hands on the deal. We've read it 3 times. It's only 2 pages. The headline, Iran's nuke program is over forever. The mullahs have agreed, at the very least, that their enriched uranium stockpiles will be destroyed on site, and that the International Atomic Energy Agency, which means us, will supervise. Since Iran can't dig it out, we'd be the ones doing it. They only get sanctions relief after the dust is destroyed. And if Iran backs out, they've still agreed that they'll maintain the current status quo of their nuclear program. And the status quo is they have no nuke program. The uranium's buried, the centrifuges shattered, and their scientists are all dead. So status quo is still bueno. Even then, Iran agreed to this, quote, we shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. And if Iran so much as comes near the sites, it'll be trouble.
We have Space Force cameras on every single door, well, there are no doors, they've been pretty well shattered, but every area of that, if somebody walks in and he's got a badge with his name on it, like Mohammed something, which is about a 50-50 guess, Mohammed something, they can tell the name, they can give you a serial number.
Moving on, the Strait immediately opens. No attacks, no tolls, and we slowly lift the blockade. Iran's allowed to sell oil again. That means 2 things. 1, the price of oil is going to fall. So will gas prices and inflation here. And 2, China can't buy sanctioned Iranian oil at a discount anymore. They have to pay full price. Oil closed today in the 70s, which was the exact same price it traded at before the war. So we're back. And here's where it gets a little cute. It says after 60 days, Iran can talk to Oman and the Gulf states about how to manage the Strait under international law. Now, people are saying that means Iran can go back to tolling. No. Tolling the Strait is illegal under international law, and the Gulf states would never agree to tolling. They just put that language in there so that Iran can save face. And this just in, for the first time since the start of the war, Iran didn't fire at a single vessel in the Strait. It's a pretty good signal. Next, there's going to be a $300 billion fund where Gulf neighbors, not us, Gulf neighbors, will invest in rebuilding Iran.
Any relief they receive under this deal, they'll have to get based on merit. And it won't be from us. We don't have to give them anything. But some people may want to invest. Like, what are you going to do? Say you can never, ever invest in a country? I mean, it's pretty tough. They need investment because we did $1.5 trillion, maybe $2 trillion worth of damage. So somebody's going to have to help him out.
So POTUS, Donald Trump, is, from what we understand, absolutely amazing at making deals, right? So what are some of his techniques? I guess you can consider one of them anchor extreme, then settle. He opens with a maximal, often shocking demand like seize Karg Island, obliterate the desalination plants, 42,000 extinguished. And he goes back on it and he says, you know, I'm a good guy. I didn't want to ruin those desalination plants because, you know, I want to make sure people have good water, which is, you know, nice. And he uses leverage that you already hold and makes it loud. I guess he's good at identifying the real pressure point and theatrically squeezing it, right? He announces first and negotiates after, which is a surprising technique, but, you know, it tends to work once in a while. He also personalizes everything. He says, you know, Xi is a great leader. I feel bad for Lebanon. He kind of puts himself in there. He uses unpredictability as a tool, you know. He threatens people. Very hard tonight. They're going to get hit very hard tonight. You know, or a great settlement, you know, by the evening. There you go. Yeah, and he also uses the bundle and link. He'll tie unrelated things together, like the Abraham Accords to the Iran deal, farm purchases to the China summit, and each party has multiple reasons to stay at the table and more places to find a tradable concession.
This isn't free money. The deal says that we control who does business in Iran. Quote, we grant all required licenses, waivers, and permissions needed. That means if Iran screws around, they don't get any investments.
Very smart. Seems like a pretty big investment for the United States. Interesting. By the way, we're going live every day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want. Join us. We have the best chat in the world.
Their country doesn't get rebuilt. Usually after we win wars, we like to rebuild the loser. Japan, Germany, the South.
Correct. And Donnell Hall says 319 gas and dropping.
After the Civil War. When neighbors do business, they usually don't go to war because war is bad for business. That's the thinking here. Next, in terms of sanctions, the United States will only lift sanctions as a part of the final deal. That means not now. That means when the dust's been destroyed and Iran signs the final deal, which is only going to get tougher. The deal also says the United States won't be reducing our force posture until the final deal is signed. That means the two carrier strike groups remain in position, locked and loaded. Also, Iran has to keep their dog on a leash. Hezbollah has to stand up. If they attack Israel, Israel can hit back and hit back hard. But Israel, they have to behave too.
We have a little dispute over Lebanon. I say you can do a little softer touch, Bibi. You don't have to knock down a building every time somebody walks into it that's from Hezbollah.
A senior official tells Primetime that Netanyahu thinks the deal's a home run if Iran complies. But he's skeptical. Here's the bottom line. They'll never have a nuclear weapon. The Strait's open. The Ayatollah's dead. Their military's whipped. And we did it in 3 months with no ground troops. And Mohammed's not getting a penny until he performs. And none of these pennies are even ours. And as a bonus, the United States is now the world's biggest energy exporter. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we rewired the Middle East so they make love, not war. And we don't have to babysit them. Trump actually set the stage for peace in the Middle East in his first term by bombing the hell out of ISIS and whacking Iran's top general.
This was years in the making. You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani. And if I didn't kill General Soleimani, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about this deal, because he was a mad genius. A lot of people forget that. The tough guys, the tough guys that would drive the country right down the tubes.
Then Trump terminated the Obama deal, and in his second term, the president visited the Middle East first, remember? Beefed up the Abraham Accords, sold the Arabs AI, cha-ching, and came home with trillions of American investments. Last week's airstrikes and Project Freedom sealed this deal. American deterrence is back. And the Guard lost its leverage over the Strait when we started secretly shepherding tankers out. Senior U.S. officials tell Fox News that they don't trust the Iranians. They're not in the trust business. But the Iranians in private have been saying all the right things. Now, that doesn't mean anything. This is a performance-based deal. If they BS us, we slap back the sanctions and the blockade and maybe bombs away.
If I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head.
What do you expect the word?
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head.
Now, you're hearing a lot of noise about the deal. Not everyone's going to love it. I get it. But Lindsey Graham and Rand Paul, polar opposites, both say it's good.
Selena, girl, how you doing?
So what happens next? The talks in Switzerland this weekend are critical. In the first 30 days, the Iranians prioritized. We'll see how serious they are. One thing's clear, the mullahs, no Trump serious.
They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch.
The president...
He's not holding back at all. Calling him unintelligent, calling his mother a female dog. There you go.
It's no sucker. He's been a part of deals that blew up. That's why he's sending JD.
Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
I might.
You might?
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of a document that I should be signing. This way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest.
Got to blame somebody, Definitely. We got Trump defending the Iran deal.
President Trump today in France defending his agreement in ending the war with Iran, holding a news conference there in France as the G7 wrapped up. At one point, Trump saying the agreement is not final and that if Iran doesn't act right, the bombs will fall once again. Scripps News White House correspondent Jacob Garden-Schwartz is tracking it all for us. And Jacob, you were on the call with senior U.S. officials breaking down the deal. Help us understand what it does, especially when it comes to the issue of money.
Good afternoon, Del. Well, as the president was giving that press conference, senior U.S. officials were briefing reporters on a phone call.
Never mind. We covered that one. Ciao, buddy. We got shelter-in-place order issued in Los Angeles over massive commercial building fire.
In Los Angeles that is burning, and there's a shelter-in-place in effect out in the Boyle Heights neighborhood. I want to show you this video because it is pretty striking. It's a commercial building that's on fire. The fire
It's very interesting with the fires that are going on recently in Los Angeles, California area. It seems very questionable, the reason they started.
The department says it is releasing hazardous materials into the neighborhood. You see those solar panels moving, burning there. People are being advised to go inside, close their windows, and turn off air conditioning units if you have them. LAPD is issuing a citywide tactical alert. Now, the fire department has been trying to put out the fire with water drops. In fact, that's one of them that you see right there. Our NBC station here in Los Angeles is above the fire. Here's what they said just moments ago.
And there's another helicopter about to make another water drop here, Jonathan. Fire 3. We've seen him already drop twice, so this will be the third time that he's gone to Montecito Heights to fill up and come back. And there he is, right on cue, as he comes around the south side of the building and is now headed to the east. So this is going to put him over Indiana Street. He's going to make that sweeping left turn to come back over the fire, and we'll see how low he gets. I know you were kind of observing that earlier to see if they're going to stay high on this one or if they're going to try to get closer to the structure. So we'll see what he does, and there's also a chance he may go around twice if needed, but nope, there he goes. So that water drop right.
Excellent drop on that one. precision flying.
On the thickest, heaviest flames on the south side of the structure. And let's just watch it. I think it's beautiful to see the white smoke start to emanate, because that white...
Checkers Firelight jumping in on the chat saying, oh, those solar panels are the worst to get out. My goodness, my goodness. Please explain.
Smoke is a good sign. Whenever we're seeing that heavy black smoke, you know it's finding fresh fuel. But when we see this white smoke, that really is what tells us that firefighters are starting to get an upper handle on it. And overall, as I widen out the shot, compared to when we first got overhead now nearly 2 hours ago, it looks so much better. It was such a dark plume of black smoke that could be visible for miles. It still is visible for miles, and we still do have some black smoke, but overall we're starting to see a lot of white, a lot of gray.
And there's the chopper coming in again. We're going to keep you updated on any further updates as we get them. We think.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. So unfortunate. You guys were talking about Obama earlier. Let's see it. What's going on with Mr. Obama? We got construction leaders discussing incredible work behind Obama Center.
Tomorrow is the big day, the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center. And for the team that actually built this building, got it out of the ground, that project's legacy is going to stretch far beyond the Southside campus itself.
NBC5's Christian Farr spoke with the construction leaders behind this massive undertaking about the partnerships they forged, the opportunities they created, and why they believe the impact of this project could be felt for generations.
How are you feeling as you look at it right now?
Proud would be the most, I guess, overwhelming emotion, and just proud of all that we accomplished.
What Kelly Powers and the men sitting by her side accomplished has given Chicago a new treasure to cherish for years to come. They are all responsible for building the Obama Presidential Center, and the way they did it may have changed how minority-owned construction companies win contracts.
The process has always been that a project would be announced. The majority companies would choose a minority partner, and they would form a joint venture and go about building.
But when bidding opened to construct the Obama Presidential Center, 4 minority-owned construction companies banded together and did something different.
And this is the first time that the minority community collaborated and actually formed the first partnership, and then interviewed and brought on the majority partner to help the opportunity.
The presidential partners are 51%, but we did have of course, a significant portion of this project.
Jonas Abrima is a VP with Turner Construction, the majority partner, and the 5th member of the Lakeside Alliance. But Turner, being the majority, did not mean that the minority-owned construction companies lost their voice.
There weren't many times where we disagreed, but just knowing that the minority partner was going to play.
All right, so we got this building by Obama. What do you think about it? I don't know. I guess I got to see it in person to make a better assessment. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. If I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? But you want to know something else Obama did. This is very interesting.
No one realized that less than 12 hours.
So this is Hokit, and Hokit is a UFC fighter, and you probably heard of him. Even if you don't like fights,
Thank
he
you
made
for your
some
support. I
pretty
love
big
you.
statements.
Wishing you and your family.
Sorry about that. Popped up on the wide over there, but this is Josh Hokit. He made an incredible upset. Fought an incredible fighter and defeated him. And after the fight, he made some very bold statements. And you're going to be surprised with what Obama did. So, moral of the story, don't make fun of Obama if you are a public figure.
Hours after Josh Hokit insulted former First Lady Michelle by calling her a transgender woman, Obama swiftly took 3 measures that cost him $10 million. Did he recently?
$10 million.
After winning his fight at UFC Freedom 250, Hokit made controversial remarks during an interview, claiming that former First Lady Michelle was actually a man. Just when everyone thought Obama would once again feel helpless as he had in the past, he quietly made 3 shocking decisions. First, Obama's legal team immediately filed a lawsuit in federal court. The lawsuit not only sought substantial compensation for emotional damages, but also requested the freezing of all the prize money Hokit earned from the fight. The value of these funds was
freezing all of the money that he earned from the fight? Pretty bad, bro.
Estimated to be as high as $4 million. Second, Obama made it clear to several major well-known brands that signing Hokit would result in the automatic termination of their partnerships with Higher Ground Productions. As a result, Hokit lost out on $3.5 million in endorsement deals. Finally, Obama's team
$3.5 million in endorsement deals gone. Thank you, Obama, for doing that allegedly, right? Don't make fun of Michelle Obama.
Pressured major mainstream streaming platforms with which they had long-standing relationships. As a result, a personal inspirational...
Gosh, dude. Devastating. Devastating to his career. But you live and you learn, right? Absolutely. And this is also what Obama is building.
A significant role in making those decisions. And that did happen.
It was Power's father who came up with the idea of creating what is now nearly a 10-year-old alliance. And the family-owned Power & Sons has forever changed how it does business.
What we set out to do was to transform the paradigm, to maybe be the first, but definitely not to be the last, and hope that others will take what we've done here and use it as a stepping point to create something even better and bigger.
The Lakeside Alliance members are also proud of employing nearly 5,000 people who mostly call the area around the Obama Presidential Center home. And most who live there are African American. Their names have been etched on a wall.
Names have been etched on the wall. And yeah, absolutely. That is the cost of freedom of speech. Absolutely. Someone said in the chat.
To recognize their contribution to this historic site.
To have that many community members, these are husbands and wives and cousins and nieces.
You said Dana lost $60 million, got scammed. I don't know if that's accurate. I think he put up the $60 million to put the event on. And I don't know. But yeah, let me know if you have actual data.
It really makes it wholesome.
The alliance may change the way that construction business is done when it comes to minority firms. And it's already led to more business in the future.
Their bonding is increased, the manpower is increased, so they can go after larger projects. So it is just a formula that makes sense.
Every time you do something different and that something different is successful, it opens up could we do this again?
On Chicago's South Side, Christian Farr.
Chicago South Side. There you go, buddy. So we got 8 victims identified in a deadly B-52 crash in California.
Live now from Fox, I'm Shauna Kalafi. Earlier this week, a tragic situation at Edwards Air Force Base in California. 8 victims have now been identified after a B-52 bomber crashed during a test flight there at Edwards Air Force Base. You see the photos of those 8 victims there. And our partners at Fox 11 in LA actually spoke to a loved one of one.
May their souls rest in peace. So sad.
Of those victims. This is their story now.
Today, the Air Force released the names of the 8 men killed during a routine test flight out of Edwards Air Force Base Monday. Fox 11's Nick Garcia reports from Lancaster, where 2 of the men are from.
Yes, 2 of those men who died tragically in that crash were here from Lancaster. We spoke with one of their wives today. Tragedy struck 8 families Monday when a B-52 Stratofortress crashed during a test flight mission shortly after takeoff from Edwards Air Force Base. The 8 men identified today, 6 of them military members, 2 contractor flight test engineers, all of them serving our country.
Christopher was just an amazing man. He loved and served everybody he came in contact with.
One of those engineers, Christopher Richard. He and Major Alexander Davis are both from Lancaster.
Christopher would want to be remembered by the love and about the love and service he had. He would want people to think about others, not just themselves.
She says she's leaning on her faith.
It's hard not having him now, but knowing that there's a life after this and that we can be together again gives me so much hope and makes it just that little bit easier.
And also leaning on the other families as they navigate the difficult road of grief together.
I mean, I'm so appreciative. I never would have thought such a big community would come out and support not just me, but the other 7 families. Having this happen is so negative, but we got to look at the positive and all the things that can come from it, the things that they're able to learn so that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, hopefully they learn a lot, because losing intelligent individuals on an airplane is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
His family, Christopher was larger than life.
He was our Superman.
She says he's now forever watching over them from the sky.
Absolutely. All the best to her and her family. We got one for y'all. None other than Nick Shirley, right? We need to see some Nick Shirley in our live. There we go. Pretty good frame.
You look like you're from Minnesota.
That's exactly where I'm from. My name is Libby Tard, T-A-U-R-D. It's actually the French spelling, and I am from Minnesota. So yeah, today my pronouns are they, them. So please, tomorrow
they. How does someone call himself a? So if I were to call myself a they, does that mean that's plural, right?
Correct.
So how does someone refer to themselves as they?
Just they, pretty much.
Because them is like them is more than one person. Like they over there.
Great. So I am more than one person.
Them over there.
Them, they, them here, they, them there. You know.
Interesting. What made you want to become a they?
Interesting. You know, it's something I knew ever since I was 18 months old. My parents actually gave me puberty blockers at 18 months old because they're very brave and heroic even. And yeah, so I'm actually a
brave and heroic. If this is actually true, come on, don't do that. Don't do that to your children. Let your children be children. What are you doing?
Trans woman, and that's the reason I'm so beautiful, is because my parents were so brave to give me puberty blockers at 18 months old.
Wow.
Great. Wow.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick Shirley.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I hate everything you do.
You hate everything I do? Thank you.
It was at that moment. It looks like it's a setup joke. That's funny. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Talking about funny. We got one for you. All right. This grandpa woke up and chose violence first. All right. Let's see what's going on.
It has so many female hormones in it. Once you drink too much, you can't drive and you start talking nonsense.
You know that you are a fucking bastard, right?
Alcohol has so many female hormones in it. Once you drink too much, you can't drive and you start talking nonsense.
Talking about alcohol. There you go. There you go. That's a good one. Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. We're going live every day of 2026. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, become a member, throw in a super chat if you want, and enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. That's one of the most important things to do. Absolutely. And yeah, so we're going to end it here. And if anyone is giving you attitude or hate, let that hate roll off of your back like water rolls off of a duck's back. And make sure to join in on the chat and share this with some of your friends who would have fun in the chat. And we're developing the best community here on the internet. And yeah, happy to have you on board. I love you. The Lord loves you. You are the best. All right. Take care. Until tomorrow, actually, right? Because we're streaming every day.